everyone, it's Darby from rejoiceandcreate.com, and today I have a very cute little Hershey Nugget 4-pack carrier for you. Now I've seen them out there with 6-packs, but if you're doing a lot of people at for a wedding or an anniversary or another big party, giving out 4 may be a little bit more cost effective than giving out 6, and certainly gives you a nice treat as well. Now this one I did more for an anniversary, I suppose, because it had the forever and always on there and 2 hearts, and each of the nuggets are wrapped with the same paper pack. Actually, this is the back of this paper, and on a cardstock base. Now let me put that one down there, and let me bring in another one I had. I tried one as well. You Made My Day Special, and again, all the nuggets are wrapped in this similar paper. And this one, it was 2 inches wide, so I actually fed it into a tag topper punch that is a 2-inch tag topper punch. And then I made the little grip a little bit bigger. You can do that if you want to feed it in gently. This was my first prototype, and actually it's a 1/4 of an inch longer than the other ones. But you can still feed this one in if you feed it in gently before you put the box together. And I made a 3rd sample with a similar style paper as this one. I used the soft suede cardstock, kind of a tannish cardstock. And I used a paper pack that was a wedding pack, and it came in a Simon Says stamp kit. This one I thought I'd do a little quirkiness, and I made the 1/2-inch circle punch kind of off to the side so I could fit 2 hearts and tie my bow off to the side. And I actually fussy cut always out of the same paper pack. And this happens to be the back of this paper, which had a bunch of words in it. But if you're doing a lot of them, I would suggest either stamping them or using a sticker or a die cut would go a lot easier and quicker. But they make a very cute little party favor. So today I'm going to make more of a holiday version. And what you'll need for this is a piece of cardstock that is 9 3/4 inches long by 3.5 inches wide. Now for the mats you'll need for the handle, and I matted both sides of the handle, so you'll need 2 pieces of pattern paper that are 2 1/8 of an inch tall by 1 7/8 of an inch wide, and you'll need 2 of those. And you can mat the bottom in 2 different ways. You can either give each side its own mat, and if you do that, you'll need 2 pieces of pattern paper that are 7/8 of an inch tall by 1 7/8 of an inch wide. And you'll also need 2 pieces of pattern paper for the ends that are 7/8 of an inch tall by 1 1/8 of an inch wide. Now if you mat them individually, all these pieces add up to 6 inches wide, so you can actually get the 4 mats by taking a 7/8 strip off of a 6-inch piece of paper. So if you're using a 6-inch paper pack, this would be the way to go. Now today what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to mat all the way around with 1 strip of 7/8 inch paper, and if you do that you will need one at least 6.5 inches long to cover all the way around, and perhaps slightly longer so that you can overlap it a little bit to make it look neat. But today I'll do a little bit of a Christmas theme. This is more of a secular winter theme, and I'm using a paper pack from Recollections, and it is called Christmas Noel, and I've had this for a few years, so I honestly don't know if it's available anymore. What I will also need are 4 strips for the nuggets to decorate them if you wish, that are 1 inch wide by at least 3 inches long. And I have 2 sitting right here because I've already wrapped 2 of my nuggets, and I'll show you how I did that with 2. I'm sure many people have seen nuggets being wrapped before, but I'll go ahead and show you how I did 2 of them. To create the little nuggets that will sit into the carrier. Alright, what I'm also going to use is I cut out a little embellishment, and he's from a different paper from the same paper pack, and he'll be sitting up on top on our little handle. Alright, so let me get this away and I'll show you how it's scored. Okay, so we're going to start with the 9 3/4 inch side up, and we are scoring it at 1 1/4, at 3 1/4, at 4 1/2, at 6 1/2, at 7 1/8, and at 9 1/8. All right, we're turning it towards the side, and this way we're going to score it at 1 1/4, and at 2 1/4. Okay, so can we see this? We have an 1 1/4 segment, 2-inch segment, 1 1/4 segment, 2-inch segment. Then we have 2 5/8 of an inch segment around another 2-inch segment. What we're going to do first is these two on the bottom, and I keep my 5/8 inch on the right side over here. We don't need those, so we're going to cut up on this rectangle score of this score line, and we're going to try to cut pretty straight up there to just above the score line, and then we're going to cut these 3 sections on the bottom off. And we're going to do that by actually cutting off the score line, because this will be wrapped into the box, and if we cut the score line off, it'll fit neatly. All right, now let's go ahead and finish off the bottom. And for each of these square tabs, we're going to cut up on the rectangle side of their score lines and just notch into the tab, so it'll just go together a little bit nicer. Same thing on this one. Cut straight up on the rectangle side of the score line and slightly notch into the square. Okay, and that's our bottom done. All right, so let me turn around and we're going to do the top. Now, on where we cut these sections off, this 2-inch section is going to be our handle. So we're going to need to cut neatly on both sides of that 2-inch section. So right on that side of the score line, just cut straight down, as straight as you can on both sides. Okay, and then I'm just going to turn this around and we're just going to notch it slightly, and this is going to be our tab, so I'm going to notch this one slightly too. So that's our glue tab, and you can actually cut off it just a tiniest little bit. All right, let me turn that back around, so we're back on the top working, and we don't need any of the rest of these. So go ahead and cut it off right at the score line all the way across. All right, so we're going to fold and burnish all the score lines except this one that leads up to the handle, because we're going to cover this whole part with pattern paper. But go ahead and burnish all these vertical ones. And then I'm going to just fold the 4 on the bottom all at one time and burnish that. Okay, so let's go ahead, I'm flipping this over, and we're going to go ahead and mat our handle now. Now I like to have a rounded handle. If you want a square one, just go ahead and leave it, but at this moment I'm going to go ahead and round the corners. And now would be the time, if you want to snug it in, you can actually very carefully snug it into a tag topper punch. Let me show that. Okay, so if you wanted to the tag topper on this one, you just very carefully push it in, because you can get it through there, but it's going to be going into the slot part, and just center it on there. So you can see that you can actually push it and center it if you want to use the tag topper. I'm not doing that today, but that's an option if you like that top. All right, so let's go ahead and mat them. Okay, so it'll actually be taller than it is wider, so the 1 7/8 inch is across the width of it. So I'm going to go ahead and round those corners as well, and this one as well. I'll put that one on the top. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and use a little liquid glue. All right, so I think I'm going to try to get my little snowman on there, so I'm going to go ahead and punch on the side on this one as well. So let me go ahead and roll it up a bit. This is the way it's going to fit, just so I know where the front is going to be, because I want to do it on the front, so that's going to be the front. And let me go ahead and I'm just slightly going over the corner here, down a little bit. All right, so now if you want to mat the individual sides, you can go ahead and do that at this point. I'm going to wrap it all the way around, so I'm going to wait until my box is completed. So let me go ahead and just do that now. I'm going to move this over this way so that my handle is just right on that left side, that fold there. I use some strong adhesive on this tab, or you can use some wet glue. All right, now lining this up, we're just going to fold this right over at the very next score line after that tab. Make sure the tops are lined up. Okay, now flip over the whole thing, and on this 5/8 inch section, we're going to also make a strip of strong adhesive. And make sure your score lines are lined up, and then just fold over this last section, lining up the top, and this should come to the score line. And that's what you have. You have your little carrier box. All right, so we actually will have a front and a back. So let me find where my last seam showed. And that would be right here. This is my last seam, so this is my back. So the sides will go down, the back will go down, and then the front. And I'm just leaving that down. And that's your little carrier. Now you don't have to put your circle off to the side. You can put it in the center. You can use an oval. If you don't want to use a punch at all, you can just staple a ribbon on or put a bow on top and then put a sentiment. But let me go ahead and show you how I would do the entire strip around it. Now this is 7/8 inch, so it's just inside there. And I'm actually going to start just right at that back seam. And I'll just make it all the way around. Just dry fit it first. And I'm going to cut it just a wee bit longer. Okay, so let me go ahead and put some adhesive on. Make sure I get it good in the ends especially. All right, so this is my front. And I'm going to start over here and just put it over slightly to the back so that I can just cover that corner and work my way around. And that was pretty good, but I do have a little bit extra, so I'm just going to trim that. All right, I think that's pretty cute. All right, so let me bring back 2 of my nuggets, and I'll bring back my 2 I have not covered yet. And here are those. And what I'm going to do is just right on the end of one, I'm going to put some adhesive and then just wrap it starting from the back and center it north on top to bottom. And I'll wrap this around, making it snug, and then when I get around here I make sure that my edges will be lined up, and then just fold that over and secure it down. And I said if you have the 6-inch paper, you can do it with 3 inches, so you can get 2 per strip. If you can go maybe just a wee bit longer, maybe a 1/4 inch longer, that'll give you a little bit more wiggle room. All right. Again, make sure that your sides will be lined up, tops and bottoms, and then just adhere that down. Okay, and I think those are pretty adorable. So let's go ahead and tuck all those in now. Okay, so let's go ahead and decorate our front now. I'm going to go ahead and put a little bow on the side of this one. You can use any ribbon or twine treatment you would like. So I think that one turned out very adorable. All right, let me bring them all back now. So it goes very quickly, and if you're doing a bunch of them all at once, running the 7/8 strip around goes a lot faster than individually cutting and putting on the layers, although I think that's very pretty as well. But I think they all turned out adorable. So I hope you enjoyed this 4-pack of Hershey's Nuggets. And if you liked the video, please subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to be notified of new videos as I post them. For more information, please go to rejoiceandcreate.com. And as always, until we meet again, I hope your days are blessed. Bye!